Good morning, and welcome to Namaste today, a lovely way to brighten your day. I'm Christopher Witecki, your humble host and spiritual life coach. This audio blogcast is for Thursday, February 23rd, 2017. Welcome back, my friend. Namaste. If you have been feeling icky, feeling shifty, having crazy dreams, you're right with the rest of us, my friend. We have been in the karmic turbulent storms of past life vibration, otherwise known as karma. And today our karma begins to clear if our mind is on the right track. In today's Zodiac weather, I'll give you the details the planets are revealing. And later, in our tea time, continuing with our series on Psychic 101, I'm teaching about karmic fears. How do they work, and how do we get rid of them? But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your Zodiac weather. This Zodiac weather is for Thursday, February 23rd, 2017. And my global forecast for the Earth is cloudy, introverted, and pensive today. Step 5 Pisces rules the day. That means we're thinking about subconscious. What's that about? And the moon is in 2 signs today, Capricorn, then Aquarius. Let's take a look at the planets. I don't know about you, my friend, but for me, the karmic tides have been heavy the last few days. And you're talking to a guy who does show up to meditate, who does go to the gym, who does drink a lot of water, and yet I have felt a lot of heaviness. So if you've been feeling heavy and strange, I want you to know you're not alone. Today, I do believe that this turbulent weather, this karmic upheaval, if you will, is going to come to a conclusion and an end. And in the next 24 hours, I predict a rainbow to come out in your heart. Today, Step 5 rules the day. Step 5 is I think. That is the mind. That is Mercury. Your mind will be running wild today. And if you want to keep your day or point it towards serious joy, you need to be in touch with what your mind is doing. Particularly, it's time to commit. Mercury itself is at step 26, Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is what we dealt with last month, where we belong and whatnot. In the last 5 days of Pisces, we've been feeling through our past life karma, feeling through the emotional baggage, the unattended emotional baggage that comes up, particularly the baggage that comes up when we want to go to where we belong. That was what last month Aquarius was about. Well, today Mercury's at step 26 Aquarius. That means the mind is seeking to commit to where you belong. And even if you're not seeking to commit, I think that's the first step to get through today's kind of energies. Commit to where you belong. Especially in this wishy-washy, up and down, topsy-turvy Pisces energy, the mind must be clear on where the destination is and where you want to go. So early on, commit to where you belong. Now, emotions are, of course, the real part of the ocean. It is the emotion that's making all the motion go on in your life. And emotions today are in 2 parts. As we wake up, the moon is in Capricorn, and so emotions will be focused on your future. It's the late degrees of Capricorn, so this is the future planning, the decision you made, committing to where your future is. And then the moon will shift into Aquarius, which ironically is I belong energy. So it will not just be your mind committing to where you belong, but emotionally you'll be stirring. You're going to be stirring back and forth for the next 36 hours, feeling and assuring yourself that yes, you do belong in this place. Yes, this does feel right. Yes, this does feel comfortable and safe. And the mind all the while has to be real strong and focused on where you belong. Now, combining this Aquarius-Pisces energy means that we may just space out to a whole new level by the end of the day. Don't be surprised if you find yourself floating off in a hot air balloon during a conference call with a client, okay? This is just really set up to fail when it comes to staying on a straight path, because the straight path you are seeking is one within you. Venus today is at step 11, which is the path of integrity. Neptune is at step 11. Neptune is in Pisces, trying to help our spirit find its integrity. And Venus is in Aries, which is what we open up to. And that means we're opening up to our new integrity. What does it mean for you to be 100% with yourself? That is a checklist of something you can do if you feel lost today. Your ego is seeking to look in the mirror and put a thumbs up to itself, not so much in the results, but in the actions and in the intentions. And if you don't know what to do today with your energy, the best thing to do is something that will bring you to integrity. For myself, if I'm not sleeping right, if I'm not eating right, I'm out of integrity. I'm not loving myself the appropriate way. So Sensei says, love yourself the appropriate way. That's the first and best action to take while you're off processing where you belong. Now, speaking of ego, your ego really does need your soul support right now. Mars is at step 19 Aries and begins a very intense conjunction with Uranus. The way I interpret this is, right now we're kind of in the spiritual gym. We're being forced to do spiritual push-ups. These are really willpower push-ups is what these are. We're having to put our willpower in action and then follow through with our willpower. What does this make us? Stronger. How do we feel? Weak. Okay, like whenever the universe is asking you to get stronger, you always feel weak, all right? And so you have to expect that that's going to be the case. Don't push yourself too hard. In fact, it's all about staying in balance because this Mars-Uranus conjunction opposes Jupiter retrograde at 22 degrees Libra. So in simple layman's terms, our soul is on this long-term path to restore justice, to restore equality, to restore balance, to restore sane relationships. And that is really our spiritual measure of what is the right mark. But our ego is trying to step up to that price tag. Our ego is trying to become stronger and try to pull this off. And although our soul wants it and wills it, we don't feel strong enough. Now, the good news is this will likely only last about 3 days as far as this uphill kind of pushing with yourself to be stronger and to show up for yourself. But we have a lot of ego development this spring, so don't be too hard on yourself. This is not the beginning. In fact, Venus is going to go retrograde on March 4th, and it's going to stay retrograde till April 3rd, and that's going to really cause you to re-question, at least till April 3rd, exactly what your ego should be. So our ego is going to feel lost and seeking direction a little bit later this spring. So really, try not to worry about hitting the perfect mark or doing it. Just show up for yourself, do the willpower push-ups, and move on, because we're going to do a lot of new character building on this spiritual growth inside. Now, speaking of spiritual growth, I think it's the perfect time for our tea time. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our daily tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is karmic fears. And I've been interacting with a lot of people, both on my website, Serious Joy TV, and also on our new Facebook club, NamasteToday.club, if you want to come down. And people have been sharing with me that, yes, indeed, a lot of fears, a lot of negative dreams, a lot of stuff coming up the last 4 days. And I already shared with you that it's been coming up for me too. A lot of this, in my opinion, is karmic fear. Now, what is karmic fear? Well, first of all, karmic fear, in my opinion, goes back beyond this lifetime. I think that's why I call it karmic. These are fears that we're literally born with, like a fear of water, or a fear of the church, or a fear of heights, or a fear of flying even, maybe a fear of moving too fast. These all come from, I think, past life traumas that our soul has had. And I quote this often, but in the book Conversations with God, God very specifically says that he only gave babies and us one fear, and that's a fear of loud noises. That's the only fear, he says, is built into the human consciousness, and it's to save our life, he says. Like, that's why he put it in there. Any other fear was created from experience here on earth, and your soul so far is reacting with this fear. Now, I believe that if somebody in a past life was murdered or unexpectedly died, like in an accident, anything that ended up in immediate death, even maybe war with immediate death, because you died and you died out of your control and out of your power, this creates a spiritual trauma. And in my opinion, looking into many past lives, doing many readings, this trauma stays with you until you take time and space in one of your incarnations to smooth it out. When we go back to source energy, we are not smoothing out our manifestation path. We are in pure form up there. Everything is perfect. All right. And so there is no game of imperfection. There is no game of imbalance. There is no game of cause and effect. That game is played in physical reality, and that game resumes when you come back to physical reality. I believe that we must return to our physical reality to work out these wrinkles in our soul. And we can go real philosophical here one day about this and what this might be, because honestly, I think reality is, period. So when we return to physical reality, we return to the state our soul was in. We return to heaven, we return to a pure state. So that means that if you return to reality and you fix your soul, let's say in this lifetime, I actually believe you are retrofixing it into the past lifetime too, because I think the soul is, period. The soul is pure in heaven, and the soul is manifesting in physical form. In heaven, it's okay you have these infrequencies. On earth, it turns into some big issues, and we work them out literally here on earth. So consciousness ultimately gets troubled or trapped from these situations. And of course, you can be creating new traumas in this life that are creating more trouble. And this trouble creates trembling. Really, that's what karma is. The soul starts to tremble and starts to shake. And that trembling and shaking on a very deep, very subconscious or very high vibration level, that very little trouble creates trouble in our life. And really our process, at least in this modern age, is to work these troubles out of our soul and bring it to a calm, peace, harmony, so we can manifest purely. We can manifest without this wrinkle in our signature. Because when you have these troubles inside of you, which is your soul trembling, right? When your soul trembles inside, this tremble is carried out in everything you manifest, everything you create. It all will have this seed of trembling in the very, very depth of the conscious will. And so, as a result, whatever it manifests or brings will come back with cracks, come back with situations. So how do we get rid of these karmic fears? That's what I want to share, because I believe the solar eclipse coming up on this Sunday is going to give a huge booster shot to clearing karmic fears once and for all. When I say once and for all, I do believe that. I believe if you fix it now, you will fix it forever, unless you recreate it, of course. We always have that option. Well, the way to clear, in my opinion, the most important thing is actually your response. So the way you respond to trouble or a tremble inside of yourself, usually we're trembling because we're afraid of some sort of trouble that's going to happen, and it's the trembling itself that creates the trouble. So the first thing is to know the response. If anything, respond differently. Respond differently than you have in the past. If you just respond differently than you normally do, you're already getting yourself out of the snow ditch. Okay, you're already starting to bring yourself out. If you respond the same way you always have, you're likely going to just continue. You're literally reinforcing that vibration and giving it more energy and letting it be affirmed in this lifetime. And many of us have to affirm. A lot of people, when fear comes up, they respond with worry. They respond by escaping, going off and drinking or doing drugs. They actually don't respond. They just sit there and suffer sometimes and allow themselves to agonize in their fear. And sitting in that state, which is I call letting your baby be in a shitty diaper, when you let your baby sit in a shitty diaper like that, all you're doing is creating rash, right? Like, this is not going to be turning into anything good. So our response must be different than these others, like worry and escape. Our response must be something that will help us. And if you don't respond, I think you empower the fear and keep it alive. What fear needs is basically your time and attention on earth. You basically need to honor that past life murder. You need to honor that past life abandonment. You need to honor whatever it is that your soul is grieving, and give it the time and space, give it the funeral it needs to go. A lot of times we don't honor it. We run away from it. We worry about it. Oh my God, we don't want to see it. Like this is our response to it inside. And because it has not been honored, it cannot be cleared. And honoring is step 0, by the way, to take time and space. Once you honor it, you take time and space and go, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to take a bath and I'm going to feel this out. Now that's honoring it. That's special time and space. You want to allow the feelings to bubble up. That's the first thing. Allow it all to come up. Don't resist. Let's see how icky this gets. Let's see how bad this is. Let's go. Give me what you got, soul. What is this? I want to feel it. I want to know what it is. In the process, no judgment from your smart-ass mind is allowed. None, okay? Everything is okay. It's okay that you're afraid. It's okay you feel this way. It's okay that it's come to this. It's okay that you're 56 and still feel this way. It's all okay. I'm sorry. It's all okay. There's going to be no judgment here whatsoever. We want to look at the emotions and look at them purely and feel what they are, okay? By allowing yourself to feel what they are, they start to dissipate. And that's another thing that God said in Conversations with God is when you focus your attention on something, it actually starts to go away. Always. Even joy. It's like when you really start to focus on joy, it starts to dissipate. This is why people can become addicts and go too far, is because the joy dissipates. It's time for a new joy. You have to go create a new consciousness to experience, smell, taste, and whatnot. That one went away. And I think that's why we build tolerances in our body to certain joyful drugs and joyful things. We build tolerances to everything because consciousness will dissipate if you focus on it. So focusing on the fear actually makes it go away. Coming up with a plan for the fear actually forces it to dissipate. Giving it time and space and letting it vent and breathe is the best thing to do, honestly, even though it's the last thing your soul wants to do in that moment, right? And I'll go through this in entirety another time, but the last thing I do with fears is I calibrate my steps of serious joy to my fear, basically. And I'll go through the calibration very quickly. Step 0, I protect it. Step 1, I send love to my fear. I love myself, I bring a state of love. Step 2, I feel the love. Step 3, I believe this can change. I believe I can change. Step 4, I belong being in a new healed place. That's where I belong. Step 5, I think it can happen. Step 6, I'm open to it happening. I'm open to how it will happen. Step 7, I receive from God and Goddess and am here calibrated. My soul wants this. This goes all the way up to the light, and I thank God for the help. Step 8, I decide this has got to happen. Step 9, I'm willing to act on this as soon as I can. Step 10, I will love and trust and hold space until this happens. Step 11, I intend to become a fearless person and clear this forever. All right, my friend, I hope that helps. The good news is I believe we are clearing some ancient fears, and I think this is the last time with this set of fears. I truly believe our society and our humanity is breaking through to a new level of light. Give yourself the time and space and get rid of this. We got other stuff to do. Now remember, you can join our Facebook club at namastetoday.club. Also, the mothership is seriousjoy.tv. Remember, my friend, I love you. And live, love, be. Live, love, be.